Welcome back, friends and viewers, to part 2 of our Demon Souls walkthrough. To pick up where we last left off, we are in the Nexus. I just put back all my armor on. And now the next point that we're going to do is actually move on to one of the first Archstones. I believe this is the only one out of the 5 that are actually unlocked for us. Or maybe, I think there's only 4. 3. Nope, there's actually 5. So out of the 5, you can only actually go into the Archstone of the Small King. Now, in the Nexus, the hub area, there's a couple NPCs that are already here right off the bat. So you have Stockpile Thomas, who is actually just going to act as like your personal vault that you can just put items in there, which I would highly recommend. Go ahead and do that whenever you can, just because you don't want to be over encumbered by the items that you're carrying. And if you have too many items in your inventory and they weigh too much, you actually can't pick up anything on your travels. So just when in doubt, go ahead and dump anything that you might not be using, consistently just with him. You do have a blacksmith here. He can repair your weapons as well as, I think, upgrade some of them. However, there's going to be another blacksmith that we find that's going to be able to upgrade a lot of our other gear and unique weapons that we pick up. And then there is a soulless or a forgotten kind of knight here who just will kind of give you some information about the area.
Well, you slipped through the fissure too, did you? You came for demon souls? Or to save this land and be remembered as a hero? Hunting for demons? Try one of the Archstones. Now go. That is why you came, is it not? To this accursed Boletaria?
Okay, well, I was just telling you that if you want to progress forward, you got to go through the Archstones. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We'll go to Boletarian Palace, which is the first area. And in order to progress, we actually have to go into this area and beat the first boss before we can actually go ahead and level up, or like the Maiden in Black will actually show up for us. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so we're like at a medieval kind of castle looking area. Here comes a big ass dragon. Got a mouthful of dead people. Spawned in. As soon as you spawn in, go ahead and run behind you. There'll be an item that's kind of tucked away here. Let's go ahead and pick that up. My cat is going crazy in the background, so I apologize for this. But let's keep moving on. There's a couple areas in the game, like where this guy's coming out to our left. You're not going to be able to open up just yet, just because at certain points in each area, they're only accessible if your world state is a certain alignment. So as you can see at the top right, where it tells you we're at Boletarian Palace, or Boletarian, however you want to pronounce it. We are at this area, and that eye is like kind of a gray color, so right now it's neutral, but the more, if you kill a boss or a dark spirit while you are in human form, or actually I think just human form or soul form, it'll shift the world tendency towards white, which makes the world a little bit easier. Enemies are going to drop more healing items. The enemies are going to have less health. And then, if you get it to like pure white, this gate should open up along with some of the other hidden areas throughout the campaign. Each world has their own kind of tendency, so you can kind of mess around with it and see just like what tendency events and such are. For a new player, it's probably just in your best interest to try to shift it towards white, just because it'll make the game a little bit easier. However, to shift the world towards black, I believe you need to kill NPCs and die while in human form. So right now we're in soul form, so it's not going to shift it towards black for us. But if you continuously die in human form, it will shift towards black. Enemies will have more health. They're going to deal more damage, but you have a higher chance of having enemies drop like better loot for you, not just the healing items. But I guess just whatever your preference is, especially for a new player though, I wouldn't really recommend always staying in human form despite having more health. And we're gonna pick up an item though that's gonna make it easier for us to stay in soul form, so we don't shift the world towards black. And I'll definitely point that out once we get to it. But we're gonna keep moving along here. Be careful here. That hole in the floor, you can die if you fall through there. But we're actually just gonna push that. We're gonna push that guy into it. There we go. That guy didn't drop anything. Alright. Half moon grass. Just get some more healing items, which is fine. It's kind of dark in here. I think there's an enemy to the right. Just be aware of that. And I believe while you're in soul form, actually, you take reduced damage. So at least they try to give you some kind of incentives to playing in soul form instead of just trying to be in human form the whole time. That's my dog in the background, in case you can hear that. He's kind of going crazy. He and my cat are playing with each other. I apologize. He's just a puppy, so any of you other animal lovers out there. Alright, so now we'll have these two guys. Just go ahead and back up, see if you can get them to like one at a time, otherwise they're going to be a pain in the butt to take on together. But like kind of in the tutorial area, enemies, at least in this game, seems they have a really long time in between swinging their weapon and putting their shield back up. So just as long as you time it pretty well, you'll be fine. Soldier soul. I think this item over here is a dagger? A mail breaker? Okay, we actually started with that as a knight, so it stinks that we got an extra, but whatever, I think we can sell items to certain blacksmiths. Let's go ahead and take this. Okay, let's move up. There should be an enemy, I think, around here that throws fire bombs. So let's try to be careful because we don't want to take it. There he is. Definitely don't want to get hit by that stuff. Let's just go up. I just saw there's another guy with a fire bomb. Let's have him throw it. Okay, just kidding. Don't have him throw it again. These dregs, like those little enemies that have their, like the broken sword with it on fire, if you're playing on world tendency that is completely black, they can actually wreak havoc on you. That's happened to me a couple times. Ooh, smacking my sword against the wall. See if we can get this guy to... Let's go ahead and pick up this item here. Some more healing, that's good. That item down there, the only way that we're going to be able to get that is at the top of this staircase. You can see there's a boulder, so just go ahead up until you see the boulder come down, and then just move out of the way. The boulder will break the wood here, and we'll pick it up. I believe it's a bastard sword. Yep. It's a pretty heavy weapon. I don't even know if I have the stats to wield it right now. But let's just see if I can. I do not have enough stats to wield it one-handed. Let's see if I... Alright, but if we wield it two-handed, looks like we can actually use it. So let's just... I'm gonna give it a shot. It's pretty decent, at least for right now. Let's go ahead up and smack this guy with it. You see it does a little bit more damage than our straight sword. So we'll rock out this for a little bit. Yeah, I thought I was going to one-shot that guy, but alright, it's not as strong as I thought or hoped. Watch out, there should be a guy here with a spear. It's probably best just to turtle him until you get around him. You can do damage, otherwise, I don't know. Sometimes enemies with spears, they give me a little bit of trouble. Just for distancing. But we're actually not going to continue going this way. This way, if you continue, there should be a knight at the end of this. I think he's, yep, a red-eyed knight. These knights are pretty difficult to take on, at least in the beginning, because we're not very high level. We don't have good stats or equipment. But there's an NPC that's locked away in there that we will return to at some point in our playthrough. But just, we're not going to go there right now. Alright, as you see, there's another blue knight over here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take this guy out. Alright, let's back up. Ooh, I didn't think that was going to hit me, but it did. Dang it. There we go. Okay. Need some more moongrass. We will be going this way, but it's important to note that you should go across the bridge first, just because there's going to be a shortcut that we're going to definitely want to open up, and there's actually an item that we definitely want to pick up. It's going to make our time playing in soul form, excuse me, a hell of a lot easier. Alright, I don't think there's any other fire or oil canisters around here, but as you saw that big explosion, whenever you have an enemy that has like their weapon on fire, or if you have fire bombs and you see like an oil cask or like an explosive barrel, just go ahead and either bait them into attacking it themselves so they die instantly, or take a crap ton of damage. But I wouldn't run in there and try to be the hero, because you're probably going to take a lot of damage, or you may even die yourself. Ooh. Alright, let's back up. Ooh! Fell. Alright, so as you saw, like when we were probably halfway down the tower, I went outside and I cut the two chains. Now that we cut the two chains, once we pull this lever, there's an item that's going to be in the middle here, which should be the cling ring. Yep. So the cling ring is what I was talking about. So let's go ahead and equip that. So you're going to lose less health points when you're in soul form. So it's going to make, there you go, it's going to make playing in soul form just a little bit easier on us. I think now your health is capped at 75% of its max when you're in soul form instead of 50. Definitely making it easier on us. But we're going to pick up this item set as well as this item. This item is actually going to be of great importance to Stockpile Thomas, the NPC back at the Nexus. Let's make our way back up. Now we're going to go back up to where that blue knight was when we first killed him. We're still not going to go through that fog wall just yet, because there's another item I want to make sure that, just in case any of you want to have like a ranged option, there's actually going to be a crossbow, I believe, that we're going to pick up. Just to give you maybe a little bit more utility or versatility in your playthrough. But there's an item down there, and it's okay if you fall. You shouldn't die. You will take a little bit of damage, but that's okay. We'll loot them. Light crossbow and a wooden bolt. So let's eat some more grabs. And take out that dang enemy that was throwing firebombs at us. That son of a... Alright, we'll move up now. And then basically just need to backtrack again. So it's going to suck, at least moving forward. It's going to take a little bit more time, at least, to progress through this area. But, you know, I definitely want to make sure that this walkthrough is as extensive as possible. I don't want you to miss anything that might be of value to you in your playthrough, regardless if it's something that I would use or not. I don't want to exclude anybody. So we'll go through the fog wall. Now, when you go right, you can see there's an item down there. There's also an NPC that you see is like having a yellow glow around him. You can initially just press forward on your thumbstick and you'll vault over that, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to go this way. But as you can see, there's an enemy here, and there's a lot of those explosive canisters. Just move forward until you see him grab in his pocket. And he's going to pull out that fire bomb and blow up everything. So I don't want you to get hit in that. There you go. Took him out. Ah, darn. I thought he was going to give us like a fire bomb or something good loot. Another one of those darn spear users. Let's heal up again. I think there's an enemy that should be to the left right here. There we go. And if you go through here, I would just roll through it, at least maybe in the doorway. Kind of. There we go. Don't attack this guy. He's actually one of the merchants that you're going to find. So I haven't found anything just by talking to him, but he does sell a decent amount of items. And every time that you find him within the Boletarian Palace, his inventory is actually going to increase. Right now, we're not going to buy anything just because what we have it's probably going to be the best right out of the gate. So I don't want to waste any souls on that, and I want to make sure we bank as many souls as possible. That way, when we do beat the boss and we go back to the Nexus, we can have as much souls to potentially level up. Thief's Ring. If you equip this ring, you're going to be harder for enemies to detect. So, just in case you want to sneak around maybe a little bit more, or you're not going to draw as much aggro. But this is going to be one of the main NPCs. It should be Ostrava of Boletaria.
That was a bold jump. A surprise indeed. Well, now that you are here, pray thee, fend off these dreglings.
So this guy, throughout the campaign, you will meet him a few times. He is pretty important character. There's two ways that you can go about doing this. You could just jump down there, reckless abandon. That's always fun. Since we do have the bastard sword, we can take out these guys pretty easily. But now you should have looted a couple fire bombs. It's probably just going to be easier for you just to throw the fire bombs from here. It should one-shot them, as you saw, and sometimes you can catch 2 or 3 enemies, like you saw right there. I got 3 in one swing. And then once all the enemies are dead, Ostrava will jump down, and you can talk to him again and get a reward.
Rescue. I am Ostrava of Boletaria. Accept this as a token of my gratitude.
There you go. Telescope. So it's just that way, like binoculars kind of thing, just in case you want to look at something in the distance, or... Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've never used it, to be honest, friends. But whatever. We are going to progress forward now. So despite saving Ostrava, he actually can die in this part. So we don't want to leave him alone too much. He has, in other playthroughs of mine, he has died, I think, to this night. Completely stopping his personal quest. But as you saw, we just picked up a scimitar. It's a good dexterity weapon. Alright, this knight does not have a shield, so let's just go ahead and we're gonna palm rush him. Oh god, looks like he's wielding a claymore. There you go. Oh shit. Whatever. I meant to heal, not throw that at the floor. Oh, I'm angry. Let's make our way right. Okay, we'll kill the archer. Now go ahead and equip those fire bombs again. Ostrava will continuously just go throughout like the different areas, which could be a pain in the ass. But as you can see, there's a couple of those explosive containers that we're actually going to go ahead and target. Just go ahead and throw your fire bombs, assuming that you can actually hit them, unlike me. And it should blow up everything. Not everything, but at least it'll help you take out the enemies without worrying about rushing in too much. There we go. Just because the AI, they're not very smart at certain points throughout the game. And as you see right now, we picked up a shards of hardstone and sharpstone. You will need these. These are just upgrade items for crafting, or like not crafting, excuse me. You'll give these to the blacksmith, the required materials, just so that way you can upgrade your sword, even potentially your shield if you want to do it that way. So they're definitely valuable, but they're not they're not necessarily. It's still the morning, friends. My coffee hasn't kicked in. They're not, you know, necessary to pick up, at least right now, or to start upgrading weapons. Right now, the stuff that you have or that you're going to find is going to be more than sufficient to get through the starting area. Oof, jeez. Listen up. Okay, let's keep moving. Typically, in my playthroughs, I never like to wield a weapon that I can't effectively wield with one hand, just because I always like to have a shield. I don't usually play without one. I don't know, I don't like being that reckless or like trying to be evasive. I do like to be pretty defensive, especially when coming up like against a new boss or something that I just don't want to try to time rolling. I'd rather just block it to the best of my ability. Let's take out this archer. Backstab. Okay, now coming over here, we just killed that archer. You can see there's an enemy standing down there with I think that's a sword, but there's also two enemies up there that will ambush you. I'll go that way just to show you what it looks like, but you don't have to. Essentially, we did sidestep them by going the way that we did and dropping down to save Ostrava. If we did not go back and drop down to save Ostrava, if we would have came back out to where that merchant was, that Dregling merchant, we could have just continued on and we would have came out to this point. So let me show you just what it would have looked like. So just for reference, if this is where we were, that's where the merchant was, and then that's, as you can see, like that scaffolding, that's where Ostrava was. If we would have came out, made a right here, and then made a left, this is where we would end up. So there's multiple conversion paths. It's ultimately just up to you. Just in case you didn't want to talk to Ostrava, maybe for like a new game plus run through, because you've already done it and you don't care about his story, but just to be for as thorough as possible, like I said, I will go through everything that I can think of in an area. Alright, so once you get to this point, as you can see, there's like these boulders here. You can actually go ahead and smack this with your sword. And then all of a sudden it's probably going to get laggy as hell, but you can see all the boulders, they're going down. They're going to kill all those guys. There you go. So that's much easier to do. As you can see off in the distance, there's also a dragon. There should be two of them. You can kind of see the wing of one of them that's to the right, and then you can see the one on the left that's sweeping his tail back and forth. We're not actually going to go that way. That's actually one of the other events that you'll encounter that I believe if you get to World Tendency White, like pure white, I think the dragon will actually go away. Which we are nowhere near that, but we may end up going back there just so I can show you what the items are. Right here, there will be two enemies. As you can see, one of them just came out. They're both spear enemies. So I wouldn't rush in, just because these enemies can be a real pain in the butt. But if you can, trying to like pull one of them at a time just to make it easier. And as you saw, one of them tried throwing a firebomb, giving us some time to run around him and backstab. Now, at this point, I would recommend trying to at least kill 1 or 2 of these enemies on the bridge, and then just be careful. There will be archers that are going to stun you a little bit, but that dragon, there he is, that dragon's actually going to do a lot of our work for us, because he's actually going to burn the bridge. Assuming he'll come back. He'll burn the bridge, and he's actually going to kill a lot of the enemies on here, making it easier for us. But then we just got to time it so we don't get cooked and burnt to a crisp, and then we're going to run like hell. Let's move up. Dragon, where are you? Alright, here he comes. Or not. Okay, here he comes. Run, run. Don't get hit by that. Okay, now we're gonna run. We're gonna run. Run. Oh, shoot. Oh. Alright, don't be like me. Run. Maybe run earlier. Let's go these damn archers. Come on, I don't have enough stamina. Some grass. Alright, there we go. Fast roll. Let's see if I can just wait for the dragon to go past us. Let's go, and we're gonna see if we can pick up as many items as possible. These items obviously they're gonna be random loot. It's not really gonna matter too much, but I just I'm greedy. Oh okay. Now let's not be the naked man. Put all of our gear back on. Put the bastard sword back on. Ugh, God, that dreaded fat roll. Pick up this item, which is the soul. And now, we are going to have access to the first boss area by pulling this lever. That is the weapon that you just saw that got thrown. That's actually called the Scraping Spear. I know there's a lot of backlash in the Souls community for people that use that weapon. But it's actually a pretty decent weapon I've found in my playthroughs. However, I'm most likely going to make that weapon. It's a spear. I think it's a dexterity weapon. I don't even know if it scales off of it, off of dexterity, but when you deal damage to an enemy, it actually will degrade your enemy's armor, making it less effective, and it's almost, if you can attack them enough, you could potentially break their armor. So in like player versus player combat, which unfortunately the Demon Soul servers, they've been shut off, so we won't be able to do any kind of PvP. But to be honest, I actually don't know if this will actually work on like heavier armored NPCs or like AI that you're gonna fight. But it's a pretty cool weapon that you could forge out of using the soul of the boss that we're gonna fight. And essentially, they're just a larger version of what we just killed right there. They're like a slug mound of goo looking thing that's covered in shields. Alright, for these things, just obviously it's going to be in your best interest to get behind them and try to keep your shield up, because they will throw spears at you like you saw that guy was trying to do to me. I think you can attack them from the front. I just don't know how long it's going to take for you to break through their armor, just because they have that pretty defensive shield in the front. But let's go ahead and loot this last guy. Half Moon Grass again. We'll pull this. We'll pull that lever that guy's body was hanging on. And now we have a shortcut back to the starting area, and the boss room. Okay, now I'm not going to actually use the bastard sword. That's not a good idea. We want something that's actually going to 86 and 85. We want something that's actually going to deal pretty quick damage. On my quick slot, you see I have turpentine that's actually going to apply fire to your right-handed weapon, and this boss is actually going to be weak to fire, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to put it on just yet until I get into the fog. I don't want to waste time. But run over to one of the pillars, just because they're going to throw spears at you constantly, and as you can see, there's a couple of the other like slugs that are still out. So put it on, and then I would say two-hand your weapon, so do some decent damage. You're not going to deflect off of any of the enemy's shields. And I would say just keep moving if you can. Just like keep strafing around them, so that way you don't get hit by the projectile attacks. Which should be a real pain in the butt. Taking these guys out. You can essentially just keep like face tanking the boss, like just straight up, just keep swinging. The reckless abandon, that will work, but I just find that it's easier just to kill these dang things first, just because these are the boss's main defense, and the less of these things alive, the less defense he's going to have, and they're not going to cling to his body. And looks like we still have our turpentine is still on. Oh, bounce off. Let's go ahead and we're going to reapply it. Oop, past it. You can also use fire bombs, that's fine too. But I don't want to waste through them just in case I might need them at some point. Let's go ahead and kill this guy who's kind of just looking off in the distance. Oh, what a great life. And once you end up killing most of like these, I guess you want to call them the mini phalanxes, once you go ahead and kill these guys, the boss will have almost no defense. And then you can just go ahead and attack them. Unless you're really, really bad at standing on position like me, and you had none, and you're just looking like a knucklehead. And there you go. So that is the first boss. We killed the phalanx. Pretty easy as long as you have turpentine. Put that on. And if you are in soul form and you kill the boss, you actually will regain your human form. But you're not going to be initially awarded the soul of the boss that you kill. You actually have to touch the archstone that is in their boss room, and then you'll be awarded the soul of the boss. As you see, lead demon soul, or lead demon souls. And we'll touch the archstone, which is going to return us to the Nexus, the hub area, and then once we get there, we're probably going to end it. That's decent that we got through 1-1 zone. I showed you pretty much everything I could, and for part 3 we're probably just going to start at the Nexus. I'll show you kind of where you need to go from here, and then we will go into the next zone for the walkthrough.
Welcome back.
So, I appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in the next video.
The monumental awaits the above.